Welcome to the RSP Boiler Room. I'm Matt Waldman with the Rookie Scouting Portfolio. We're taking a look at Trey Sermon, the running back out of Oklahoma. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about his game is how flexible and mobile he is, really, in terms of his lower body, his hips, his knees, and his ankles. So we're going to highlight some plays that give you an idea of what I'm talking about and why that's important here, in addition to a few other things that I found notable about his game. I mean, I could probably look at Trey Sermon for an hour, 2 hours, and go through tape like that, but we're going to just show a handful of plays today. And the biggest highlight's going to be about maneuverability with his ankles, knees, and hips. And you see it on this particular play. Now, as we go through this play, you've got two pulling guards, and you're going to see this linebacker work in that direction. But then you're going to see the backside linebacker, 15, who I'm circling here, creep towards that hash. And he's going to be open in the crease right here. See how he's open right downhill to be able to make this tackle. But as he's moving side to side, look at the bend here from Trey Sermon. You can see the bend of the ankles and the knees here, and his ability to kind of flip his hips and plant in here so that he can make that turn. And that's the difference between 15 being able to stay upright and make the hit and be at a direct angle, and to lose that angle immediately, and for Sermon to get through the line of scrimmage, make a second move to make a second man miss, and turn this into about a 4-yard gain, really almost a 5-yard gain. And it all really happens with that one move where 15 comes across here to take this hole. And right here it looks good. Right here it looks pretty good. But at this point, that's where the bend happens. And the momentum of this defender, number 15, is already heading too far to that flat, and he loses balance. Then number 1 comes to attack here. He breaks down, but he breaks down a little too early. And a nice bend here and a little jump cut to get away. This is good work from Trey Sermon, and you're going to see a lot more of it in a moment. Trey Sermon has really mobile hips. He can really turn the hips well to change direction. I mean, look at this play where he kind of weaves in and out of his blocks and the first defender from the secondary coming up. Turns this into a nice gain for a first down. Let's break it down a little bit slower here so everyone gets a chance to see it. But you can see here the turn and then another turn right there. Just being able to open up like that, then get downhill very quickly, then again open up. And you can see again the flexibility in the ankles and the knees and hips. He makes it look very easy, very smooth. But that's not an easy maneuver for a lot of backs to make, or a series of maneuvers. I mean, this is a different skill than jump cutting. Or just, bend, he's kind of bending around in terms of the way that he does this work. This is a nifty, flexible back. I like watching him when he gets into a crease and he drops his pads and he'll get under defenders. And then I like his ability to maneuver around them in really efficient manner. Always heading downhill, or at least trying to get downhill as fast as possible. Sermon is a very fleet-footed back for a 224-pound guy. He runs more like he's 204 pounds at times. Watch this cut up the middle and spin away, and then cut back inside. I mean, in succession like that, to be able to plant and then want to turn and then realize he's feeling that defender wrapping him, to be able to spin away from that, then make a second cut within a step and force the pursuit to overrun a little bit. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of yards off that second cut. Number 1 does a good job of adjusting pretty quickly, but nonetheless, look at that. 224 pounds, 6 feet, 224. Nifty for that size. Nice understanding of leverage through contact by Trey Sermon on this play where he keeps the ball, follows his lead blocker, and he takes on this safety. And when he takes on the safety, see how his back is kind of flat and he's dropped, with his pads into the chest. Well, it looks like his head's down here as he does this, and that's not something you want to see. But if you're going to get low and you're going to hit someone a little bit lower and your head drops down, you want to bring it back up as you make that contact. And you see that's exactly what he does, because when you have your head and eyes up through the contact, you don't fall flat forward when you encounter someone that hits you. So he's able to uppercut through that with his torso. So he gets the benefit of getting low, leading with the shoulder, and then pulls his way up. Gets across the goal line. Here's another example of that pad level where Sermon gets downhill, and you can see him lower his pads right here, and you can see that his head's down, but watch him again uppercut upward, that upward motion with his shoulders to kind of move up through the contact. So if you're going to drop the head, which isn't advisable, and you're looking down, because when you look down and you get hit, you generally hit the ground. But if you can bring that back up immediately and kind of the contact is an uppercut motion through that initial contact, you're going to be able to bounce over top of that hit. And that's a pretty good hit. And he's able to bounce over it for the touchdown. A running back's ability to have good ankle flexibility, good mobility in his knees, ankles, and hips is very important, because there are going to be times he's going to have to improvise. Watch this play. You're going to see some pulling action to the left, an option pitch to the right, and Sermon gets about 6 yards on the play. But if we look at it one more time, you see that this play was well handled by Texas Tech up to the point of executing the tackle. Because yes, the defense flows to the left on what looks like could be a little bit of a counter play with the wing back and the guard pulling to the left. And then you have a little bit of an option look from Kyler Murray, and then he pitches it off. But number 9, while he's covering the quarterback, he pivots pretty fast to get around here. You have the linebacker and defensive back here. They both come off the play. They see what Murray's doing, and they get within range right here. I mean, they've got him pinned in. Backside cut, no thank you. Straight ahead, no thank you. Bounce out to the outside, nope, shouldn't really happen. They've got him right where they want him. That's what you'd think, right? But then when you take a look, you can see within about 2 steps, he cuts inside of them. And the reason he's able to do that is the way that he can bend. The mobility of his ankles, the ability to bend at his knees so that it looks like he's sitting in a chair, come to a sudden stop, and then be able to bend it even further inside the second-level defender who has him pinned head up. One more step, and look, he just gets right inside of him. And there you are, downhill, accelerate through, pull the defender and backside here, wrapping him. Get yourself a 6-yard gain. And, I mean, again, Texas Tech handled this play well. By all accounts, you look at it right here, and you'd say he's going to lose 2 to 3 yards, maybe 3 to 4 yards. Instead, 6-yard gain. A lot of that has to do with the mobility of his body. Great work by Trey Sermon. So a lot of what I'm showing you today with Trey Sermon can be categorized as curvilinear movement. And that's a term that's often used by Sean Miska, who is a movement specialist and coach for college and NFL players. Everson Griffin is a player who is a pupil of Sean Miska's. And curvilinear movement is the ability to bend a path and, not in a straight line or a sharp cut. It's not sharp angles, but it's a ability to make a really good curling-like, circular-like, curling movement that might as well be as good or better than a cut. Be able to do it with speed and with sharpness, at least in terms of the curve. And you can see him do it twice on this run. Here's the other one. There you go. I mean, this is a beautiful run. And when you think about what it takes, again, it's about foot, ankle, knee flexion with the hips. And here we are again. Nice little curl right around that. Dalvin Cook is very good at curvilinear movements. James Wilder, who was a leading rusher for the in the CFL. Very good at curvilinear movement. Wilder's more in the weight range of what you're seeing here from Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's about 224 pounds. James Wilder is probably in the 230-pound range. When I saw him at FSU, he might be a little lighter now in the CFL. He may be even a little heavier. I don't know. I'd have to take a look. But you can see just the ability to bend those hips and ankles and make what's almost a, it's almost a 90-degree angle in terms of how he, but it's more of in a curve in terms of how he does that bend. And it allows him to avoid 42 right here, who's going to shoot this gap and just completely miss. And then he's able to set this up again after he splits two defenders with nice burst. Right here, being able to split that trailing defensive back and the head up cornerback here and avoid that. Trey Sermon, really fun back. He's got some decent power, very good movement skills. Someone who has good footwork, good burst. Definitely a back to watch when we're looking at the NFL draft. Thanks again for watching. For more RSP Boiler Room videos, you can check out my YouTube channel, Matt Waldman's RSP Film Room, and my site, www.mattwaldmanrsp.com. That's right, curvilinear movement. Sean Miska.